this is an interesting little story. The Oakland County Department of Health has told restaurants that were serving food with CBD in it. And I'm going to try to pronounce it cannabidiol, or cannabis oil. It doesn't have THC. So CBD is the oil that supposedly has healing properties for various ailments, but doesn't get you high. And some restaurants were including it in their food products, apparently. And the Oakland County Department of Health said, you can't do that. Well, there's going to be a fight over this, as you can imagine. The attorney for the Cannabis Legal Group is Barton Morris on the other end of our line. Barton, good morning.
Hey, Frank, good morning.
So what was, I think I gave it a correct description of what cannabis is, or CBD is. It's a cannabis that doesn't make you high, right?
Yeah, it's a cannabinoid called cannabidiol. And no, it does not have any pharmacological effects, but it does have, or potentially, it could have health benefits as a dietary supplement, including anti-inflammatory properties and anti-anxiety properties.
Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, I just went online because I had heard that it was that you can buy it online very easily. There are tons of sites online where you can buy this stuff by yourself.
I know. It's because the FDA, even though they are asserting their right and their intention to regulate it, they just haven't done it yet, and that means that they're not taking any action. It's not an enforcement priority for them, and so people are kind of just doing what they want, getting away with it, thinking that it must be legal, especially after the Congress had passed the Farm Bill making industrial hemp no longer a controlled substance.
And is this what this comes from, industrial hemp?
Right. It's a type of marijuana that has no or very, very little, less than 0.3% THC, which is the pharmacological active ingredient in marijuana that people get high from. And so industrial hemp doesn't have that. And the Farm Bill removed that as a Schedule I controlled substance.
Mm-hmm. And so the ruling by the Oakland County Department of Health, is that going to stand up? Will it hold? Will it be challenged in court? What's going to happen next?
Yeah, state law, Michigan law, precludes anybody or businesses that are licensed for selling food and liquor from violating the regulations of the FDA, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. So their inclusion of CBD in their drinks and in food, that is in violation of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. And so the health department simply provided some citations, I understand, to stop them from doing it. And from what I also understand is that they're not going to move forward. They're not even going to give them a fine. They just want to stop them from taking that action. And I believe that the restaurants have done so, because the fact of the matter is they may be making some money from it, and they enjoy the publicity from it and like being associated with potentially, marijuana, but I don't think that they're going to be taking any further action to do anything about it.
Yeah, this isn't the kind of issue that they want to die on their sword for.
Right.
Well, and apparently there were several restaurants in Detroit that were also included in this, and if it was illegal, I don't understand why they started it in the first place.
Well, I think it's because of our new law. The Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act also legalized industrial hemp. And then that, along with the Farm Bill, which is legalized industrial hemp, a lot of people just think it's legal and they're able to sell it. And traditionally, health food stores, kind of like under the radar, has been selling it for many years. And so all of a sudden now everybody knows what CBD is. And so you put something on your menu or in a drink, and it starts selling more, they're going to do it until they're told not to. Finally, now they've been told not to.
Yeah. What's the end game in all of this? Where's it headed?
The FDA is going to study cannabidiol and other cannabinoids coming from industrial hemp that they've identified need to be studied in order to be able to regulate it. And that actually could take quite some time. It's going to take less time than it would have prior to now, because they don't have to go through the DEA and NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse. So they don't have to go through that in order to study a Schedule I controlled substance, but they're still going to have to do some research, and that could and will take quite some time. I think a number of years.
Yeah, what's confusing to me is that the FDA rules are being applied to these restaurants, and they're not allowed to sell products with a CBD in it. And yet, as I said earlier, I can go online and go to endless number of websites and order it quite freely through the mail.
Yeah, that's true. And it has been like that actually for a long time.
Really?
But these restaurants now doing it, that puts it more in the public eye. And now that's happening. That's why you see enforcement, because it's now happening in public. It's on the news. I mean, that's what happened to this restaurant in Royal Oak. It was in the free press, and so quite naturally, the Oakland County Health Department is going to look at that and say, "Wait a second, that's not lawful," and then they're going to do something about it.
Yeah, which was well within their rights. So,
yes.
All right. Well, we'll see how this ends up. If the FDA is expected to make a ruling, and you think it's going to happen pretty soon?
The FDA has already publicly announced that the food additive as a dietary supplement is unlawful without FDA regulation. And they've also added that even just as a normal dietary supplement without adding it in food doesn't qualify as the type of dietary supplement that does not require regulation. And so they've already said that any use of it must be in accordance with the regulations pronounced by the FDA, and those haven't happened yet. So they will be doing something, but I don't know how soon.
All righty.
It's not an enforcement priority for them.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue to cover it. There'll be a lot more to talk about as we move along, Barton. We thank you for the time this morning, okay?
You're welcome.
Take care. Barton Morris, attorney for the Cannabis Legal Group.